It's been too long since I breathed in the fresh, crisp countryside air, and I dare say the garden looks, well, slightly neglected.
Well, let's just say that's nature's doing.
Winter was long and cold, and we're just at the doorstep of spring. Last year's wilted grass is still laying in the meadows, and spring bulbs have not hinted at popping up yet. That, however, does not mean that it is still time for us to be idle. There are things to be done to help the garden gently wake up from its deep slumber. There are three main things that need to get done today: prune the roses, check up on the raised beds, sow some hardy veg. Oh, and maybe tidy up dead debris around perennials. But first, my favorite part: a little wander around the garden. There's something about seeing the garden before touching anything at all, like greeting an old friend. The rose bushes are, well, let's just call them resting, and the peony still nowhere to be seen. It's quite difficult to fathom that in a couple of months' time it will be bursting at the seams with blooms. This area, however, looks like it's given up entirely.
But we'll allow that.
It's kind of almost still winter. And the cut flower garden is currently more cut than flower. I'm still experimenting with different annuals and haven't quite figured out which ones are the best yet. And over by the barn, this bed always seems to wake up first. I don't know if there's a special microclimate here or if it's the fact that the barn used to be a pigsty a few hundred years back, contributing to extra rich soil. The kitchen garden is patiently waiting. Let's see if the cardboard has broken down over winter. Surprisingly, it hasn't, but looks like a bird decided it was time to remove the herbs protection. The new dawn roses, still all thorn and memory. And the wisteria?
Not a bud in sight.
Yet, I trust it to pop to life soon. I wonder if I killed the great burnet dividing it last year.
I didn't.
Right. Enough observing. There is unfortunately work to be done. We'll start with the roses. Not all roses are created equal, and they don't all want to be treated the same way either. There are the old roses, the modern varieties, and the climbing kind, all of which require slightly different methods of pruning. The one thing they do have in common, though, is the time of year they like to be pruned. A good rule of thumb, especially around here, is to wait until the birch leaves are about the size of mouse ears.
Because everyone knows the size of mouse ears.
We're not quite there yet, but some of the roses are already budding for new growth, so let's give it a go. We'll begin with a small rose bush. This was planted here about 11 years ago, and I don't know exactly what type of rose it is. I do, however, believe it is a modern variety. That means it can most likely handle a good chop, but because it started to bud, let's treat it more delicately. Otherwise, 5 buds up on each main branch should do. You've probably noticed the wind's picked up. It's absolutely freezing. I'm just gonna quickly pop inside and get something to put on my head before we can carry on. Chris's mom hates this rose bush. I don't know why, possibly because it's been here forever. It's an old rose bush that is a wild hybrid. It can handle quite the dramatic prunes, so you can cut it right down to the third eye on the stem. And lastly, the new dawn. This one is now 6 years old or so, and only last year really started to shoot right up. I find pruning climbing roses confusing, but there are some rules to go by. 1. Cut off any dead, diseased, or damaged branches at the base of the plant. 2. Remove any crossing canes. 3. Remove twiggy shoots. They won't bloom. And 4. Shorten side shoots. Once you're done, you'll have a much tidier looking plant. Next on the list was clearing up the perennials. But considering it's absolutely Baltic and apparently snow is on the way, we may exercise some restraint. A warm cup of tea is always called for before continuing on in the cold. Let's head indoors for some warmth. There's something about coming back inside with cold hands. It makes this break feel slightly more deserved. I've been reading The Dragonfly Will Be the Messiah lately, and I highly recommend it to any gardener. I picked it up at my local bookshop purely because the author's surname is a name of the place my maternal great-grandparents are from in Japan. When I read the back, I found out it's about an organic farmer who's a pioneer of the do-nothing farming. And at that point, I felt like destiny was speaking to me, so home with me the book came. It is such an informative and personal read about Fukuoka's life and scientific observation and connection to nature. Even though you could read it in one sitting, I found myself savoring it to fully absorb what was being said. Not a single word in it is superfluous. And with that said, it's best to head out to start with a fun bit: sowing seeds. Right, raised beds. I like to pretend I have a system.
Some years it even works.
And now it finally begins, with hearty vegetables for now. Broad beans, radishes, rocket, and chives, the ones that don't mind a bit of a challenge. A bit of faith, sunshine, and rain will hopefully get us a long way. I had imagined sitting on the bench, absorbing in the start of spring for a moment. But I think we can all agree.
It's far too cold for that sort of optimism.
Still, it's begun. And that's enough for today. Well, guess that's all for this weekend. We'll see what survives next time. Hope to see you then.